Hey citizens, welcome back. We're here doing a should you buy on the Crusader Ares. Now I have some concrete info for you as well as some speculation towards the end. To get the boring things out of the way, it went for sale on December 12th for $195 US on War Bond. That means not using store credit, just using new cash to fund the game as a pledge, and $220 with store credit. There are two variants. One, the Ion, which overall we could just say is for taking down shields. It's got laser cannons and it cannot be switched out for Gatling, kinetic weapons, that use bullets. It uses energy weapons only. The Ion is for shields. It's for taking down shields. Now they say it's for capital ships, but we'll get into that. That's part of the speculation towards the end. Now you have the Inferno as well. The Inferno does have kinetic weapons, and it will be meant for taking down armor after the shields have been depleted. It will take down hull as well. I would speculate that it would also be good against ground vehicles. Now the idea is to have these two ships working together. At least that's what we're being told. I would like to get into the speculation. I don't know if you could tell, but I really want to give my 2 cents on this ship. It is a single-seater. It uses medium components, which kind of makes one think that there would be an interior. They haven't confirmed whether there's an interior or not, so I guess there could be. It uses medium components. I don't understand why. I guess you could say it's because of the big size 7 turret, but we will get into how effective that really will be later in the video. I will compare it to other gun sizes of different quantities. Now it is just one. I believe that's all the info that we actually have on the ship. The size 7 is pretty big. It's huge. So this could end up being a heavy fighter. It's not going to be it obviously isn't a light fighter. We have the specs in. I don't have them in front of me, but it is big enough possibly to have an interior. I do think this ship might have an interior. I wouldn't put my money on it, but I think it's a high likelihood that it will. Now, this is being touted as the capital killer. To throw my 2 cents in, I don't think this is going to be meant even to fly the Inferno and the Ion in conjunction alone. I don't think you could take 2 of these ships and go against even a Polaris. And my reason for that is if you take a size 7 turret, or a size 7 gun, a single one will do less damage than 4 size 3s. That is correct. It will do less damage than 4 size 3s that you can get on the market. It's anywhere pretty much where you can get size 3s in the game will do more damage than a size 7. I think that CIG, there are a few different ways they could go with this. Now, they could buff the size 7 weapon, which I think that they should do. I think that if you have a size 7 weapon, the barrier to entry there is high enough to where I think it should do a lot more damage, because the cost of buying a size 7 is going to be insane. I hope that people who are buying these ships, because they are relatively cheap ships when you take into account that they're using a capital class weapon on it, I hope they are keeping in mind that when they do need to claim the ship, there's a possibility that it won't come with the weapon. I think it will, because the first ship will come with the weapon, so I would consider that part of the whole. But there will be people out there that will need to replace this weapon or change it for another energy weapon on the Ion or a kinetic weapon on the Inferno. That is something to consider. It's not confirmed, but I think that's how it's going to be. And to go back to the power of the weapon, I think the most ideal situation will be down the line, maybe a year from now, after we get maybe a Polaris, maybe a year from now, and we start playing with this ship against a Polaris. we might start to see CIG decide, okay, well, we'll buff the size 7. We will make the gains on damage exponential as you go up in gun sizes. Another way they could take it, though, which is very possible, is they will keep the damage on these guns the same relatively. Maybe they'll change a little bit, they'll tweak things. I'm sure they'll tweak things. I'm way more certain of that. But they might keep it relatively the same as it is now. And they might just say, hey, if you're having trouble with this ship against capitals, the solution isn't to just take one single Ares against a Polaris, or even two, the Inferno and the Ion together. They're not going to be able to take that down. This is CIG maybe saying this. And they might say, no, you're supposed to use a bunch of them in conjunction. You're supposed to use half a dozen, maybe a dozen of these ships to take down a Polaris. It's in the brochure. You got a bunch of pictures, where there's more than a couple Ares working together. And unfortunately, I do see that as, I think that's where this is going to go. But I still think the ship is going to be viable. I do believe that there will be reasons to own this ship. Of course, you will be in, or you'll at least interact with corps that will have that many Ares. I'm sure of it. The ship's going to sell like crazy. And if you don't think it is, just, check the pledge earnings on the website that are, they're all there. Check it when this video comes out. You'll be able to see how much the company has earned from pledges in the past day or week or month. And we'll see where it goes. But I do think this ship is going to sell very well. I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I would buy it, even if I had the money. It doesn't seem like, it doesn't seem like it would be that effective against the capital any more than, say, a medium-sized ship with size 4, size 3 guns. The Corsair, take for instance. Now, the Corsair has a lot of firepower and not very much defense. Well, the Ares is supposed to have a lot of defense. Now, I can't say it does, but that's what they're saying in the brochure. But keep in mind, the brochure is in-game lore and advertisement. It's an advertisement from the company that's in-game. So it's not supposed to be always considered accurate, or maybe CIG isn't beholden to those things. They aren't beholden to a lot of things, but especially to that. They're very clear about that. But I will say, I do still think that the Ares is going to have a lot of defense. But again, back to my comparison to the Corsair is going to have, 4 size 5s and 2 size 4s, if I'm not mistaken. It could be the other way around, 4 size 4s, but I do believe it's 4 size 5s. A Corsair would do a hell of a lot more damage against the capital than this ship. Do you see where I'm going? Even like a Freelancer miss, or I think even a Freelancer. A Freelancer has size 4 weapons, doesn't it? I'm pretty sure it does. Alright, I think I'm going to stop trying to convince you that the Ares is not worth getting. I think it's an amazing ship in terms of aesthetic, and the concept is amazing. I think it's a great idea for a small, ship, a fighter, something that's nimble to be able to go up against the capital. I don't think it will make sense for CIG to give this ship the capability of soloing a capital ship. I think that would be insane. I hope that there's people, where I'm getting with all of this is I'm hoping that everybody out there understands that if they buy this ship, don't expect to be able to solo a Polaris, even if you're a great pilot. What I would like to see, though, is if, let's say, I were to fly around an Ion and just want to chip at the shields of a Polaris until maybe the rest of my fleet came in. What I would like to see is a size 7 weapon being able to at least sustain damage on a shield of a capital. What I mean is, I don't want to be taking a single Ion, an Ion Ares up against a Polaris, attacking its shields, and me not being able to at least deplete the shields faster than the shields can be recharged. That would be ridiculous. I think that CIG, and I'm trying to make predictions here for you guys, I do think that CIG will, inaccurate predictions, I think that they will have that at least. They will give you that with this ship. I think that if you buy this ship, you can probably count on being able to deplete shields. At what rate? That's up to up in the air. I really don't know, and I don't think it's going to be very fast, which is why I'm not as excited about this ship as I was when the first moment when I heard about it. I was like, oh, that sounds really fucking cool. I was like, wait, hold on, do they really want you to be able to solo a capital? And this also brings me to another point. I kind of would like them to buff these large weapons that will go on like a Polaris, size 7, 8, 9 weapons. I think that they will end up buffing them more than what they already are. Now, I haven't used these weapons very much, but I would venture to guess that once they get the Polaris in game, once they get the Idris in game, and you start putting these capitals up against each other, my guess is that it will take way too long for a player playing a video game to take down the other capital. Capital fights in their first implementation, I believe, will take way too long. And what I think will happen is CIG kind of balancing that out, hopefully making it so that if two capitals are against each other, to keep this simple, not too complicated with medium ships and bombers and torpedoes from medium ships, if two capitals go up against each other, I believe CIG will want to make it so that a battle between those two won't have much more of a duration than, say, two fighters fighting each other, or rather maybe two medium ships. Maybe it will scale, because a two medium ship fight, it does last longer than a two fighter fight. A fighter fight will could last seconds. So I kind of want to roll that back. Maybe it'll scale, because two medium ships might take a minute. Let's say a capital class fight takes no more than 20 minutes. Depending on how little they're maneuvering and how much firepower is actually being focused. I think that a capital fight should never last more than 20 minutes. Now, I would even go as far to say I don't want it to be more than 10 minutes, but that's just me, because you have to, and I'm talking about from the first firing of the first weapon. I really don't think it should last longer than that, because you have to account for the engagement, finding each other. And it would get boring, wouldn't it? When you imagine the gameplay. Now, it could be fun. It could be fun of moving around, re-engineering your ship, fixing things, repairing things. But I think 10 minutes is long enough for that. You take something like Theaters of War. You know what? Let's not get too into it. We're trying to focus on the Ares. Should you buy it? If you are planning to play with a large org, I think this is the ship for you. If you're playing with just your friends and maybe a little pirate group or a little trading group, maybe a little mercenary group, I don't think this ship will do much for you. I really don't. If you're not planning to go up against capitals, I think it's obvious to say that this ship wouldn't do it for you. But don't plan on going up against capitals just because you have this ship. Do you know what I'm saying? Kind of trying to say that don't get this ship if you don't plan on having a bunch of other capital destroying ships with you. Retaliators and a couple other Ares, an A2. You just don't. I really think that there are going to be people out there that are getting this ship that shouldn't be. That is why I made this video. Hope you guys liked it. I know it ran a bit long. I like talking about this stuff, and this is just the beginning, so stay tuned, subscribe. Please like this video if you liked it. If you're still here, please drop a like, because you've already helped me so much with watching the video this long. I do want to get videos out to you regularly, so I might start up a Patreon. So, you know, don't bother asking, hey, are there ways that we can support you? Right now, you guys just being here, watching the videos and liking, maybe sharing on Twitter, that would be the most you could help. But besides that, you guys are already doing everything you need to do. So I thank you. Hope you have a great day, guys. Citizens, guys, whatever. And fly safe.